that one really helped my career kickstart, and I think it helped people back me more because I had a little bit more credibility of what I've been doing. And
Thanks for joining me on another episode of the HFG podcast. It's mid-December, and as the frivolity and festivities of Christmas fast approach, it's still a hectic time here at the dealership. In the past few weeks, we've welcomed customers current, new and old to our annual Christmas open evenings across the whole group. Our sales reps are busy taking next year's orders for new tractors and combines. Parts teams are well underway with the annual stock check, and the service departments continue to undertake winter servicing on ag and turf machinery alongside the daily grind. As the year draws to a close, it's normally time to reflect on the year just past, but we're already looking well ahead into 2025, planning product showcases, demonstrations, customer videos and more podcasts. We're back to the present day and our last podcast recording for 2024. On this episode, I'm joined by farming celebrity Eleanor Gilbert, aka the Berkshire Farm Girl. For those who follow our social media channels, you may have seen Eleanor before in some of our posts, and more recently during our Tuesday Takeover feature, where we got an insight into her daily life and the goings-on at Rookery Farm, where Eleanor works alongside her stepfather, Dan. But you probably know the Berkshire Farm Girl as an agricultural internet and media sensation, with her own YouTube channel, nearly 20,000 social media followers, and a whole host of industry-recognised awards on her mantelpiece. I was lucky enough to join Eleanor at the farmhouse kitchen table to hear all about her latest experiences in the world of farming, what it's like to be an agricultural influencer, and her love for John Deere, alongside her plans for 2025. So hi Eleanor, thanks for coming on the podcast. How is your week looking this week?
oh, thank you for having me. It's much appreciated. It's looking pretty busy. It already has been busy this week. We've been really busy washing and cleaning all the tractors, especially the 8R, because it's been scheduled in for its big service.
Oh dear, that sounds an expensive job.
Yeah, Hunt Forest have been out and serviced it, but we've taken the wheels off to make sure it's all clean, so they can do a great job for us, so we can tuck it away for the winter. I've also been to Stansted Airport this week, which is a little bit interesting, to listen to a talk about potentially joining a custom harvest crew in the USA.
Oh, that sounds exciting.
Yeah, so that might be something we could talk about later, which I'm potentially interested in. And we've got the protest coming up as well on Wednesday, so we're preparing for that as well.
So for those listening, we're recording this at mid sort of December, just before another protest for the farmers and the tax rises from the Labour government. So you'll be heading up to Westminster again this week?
Yes, we will. We're actually borrowing a low loader from Hunt Forest and Tills Head. We're going to be taking some of the old tractors, so the 4955 John Deere and the 4455. They're going to go on low loaders all the way up to halfway up to London, so they don't have to travel as far because they are only 40k. So it'll be quite a slow journey.
So I imagine some of those are cabs or no aircon or no heating in some of these cabs.
Just a simple radio in those, and a few of the new ones. So we are preparing for that, getting some signs ready to go up to the protest.
And obviously, that protest is an important thing in the industry at the moment, and I guess it's quite an emotive subject for a lot of people in your situation, and those that work on family farms, and work at the team are a family. Yeah,
so I think it has really affected the family farm owners. Our farm here has been running for over 130 years now. It's my stepfather's farm, and he is the 5th generation. His mother, Hazel, is now 80, and she still works every day on the farm. She's worked all her life, put so much work into this farm, and she cannot pass it on now because of this inheritance tax. So it's quite devastating. So I'm there just to support them, because it sort of affects me, but sort of doesn't, because there's also a link to direct descendants, and I'm not a direct descendant. But young farmers, it's very hard to get into farming, and I think this makes it even harder because farmers aren't going to sell their land off for a cheap price. They're going to push it up if possible.
No, and we all know the challenges the agricultural industry faces, but it's sort of another major one that's just added to the top of the list at the moment, really.
Yes, and they've got a few more laws coming in about muck and also fertiliser tax as well. So I think farmers are a little bit...
Just to throw that in the mix for 2025.
Yeah.
So you mentioned Hazel and Dan, the family farm. So tell us a bit more about Rookery Farms.
So Rookery Farms, as I said, has been running for over 130 years now. We have the farm at home in Newbury, Berkshire, which we grow arable crops on, so wheat, barley, oilseed rape. And we also contract farm and also contract all the way up to Basingstoke, Tadley area and Winchester, combining, baling, and also some drilling as well. So it's quite busy on the farm.
Covering a fair bit of ground as well.
Yeah,
right?
Covering quite a bit. It's about 15,000 acres with the balers.
Wow. So I guess, how did you get into agriculture?
So it's a funny one. At the age of 16, I took my tractor test. Dan always said to me, I said, I just want to be more involved in the farm. And he says, well, all it takes is you to come out and look. And he said, that's all it took. I then swiftly took my tractor test. So I could drive a tractor on the road before I could drive a car, which seems crazy. I then went to Sparsholt College in Winchester to study agriculture, which is equivalent to 3 A-levels.
Yep.
And I've now just finished my degree at Harper Adams University doing agriculture and crop management. So I never thought I'd go to university because I have dyslexia and also dyscalculia, and studying was quite difficult for me. But I think if it shows that if you love what you do, it makes it a lot easier. For sure.
So that's quite a career path now for an farming education for somebody that never sort of thought they would go that way.
Yes.
That's good to hear. So the last time we spoke was just before Halloween, and you were busy with your pumpkin patch. How did that come about, and was it a success?
Wow, so it's funny, I was on placement at university, and I was out with Justin Smith, a agronomist, and he's very enthusiastic about helping young people in the industry, and we were just talking about different crops, and pumpkins popped up. And I had to think about this, and it really sparked my interest. And a week later, I did a lot of research. I sourced some seed, I bought it, and I decided just to try it for myself. But I'll be totally honest, I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't have the correct drill. I was hoping that the variety I picked would be okay because it was quite late in the season. And I was on placement, I was doing my degree, I was doing my YouTube, my social media, writing in articles, and it was quite a busy time to try and juggle all of this. But I planted it with our Amazon Mintill drill. So that's not a pumpkin drill, that's for wheat really, but I didn't really have any other options. And the success rate wasn't very high, we think, because it just wasn't planted the correct way. And I sat there and thought, oh no, there's none coming up. There's absolutely none. And then once one popped, they all started popping slowly. And I planted, I had a lot, but I learned this year that for next year, which is the year I've just done, I needed to plant almost triple because the success rate is not very high. So yeah, I did it for a second time this year, and it was crazy. I can't believe how many people backed me, helped me, and how many people came through the door. But I was selling tickets, and 3 weeks before the pumpkin patch, I'd set this whole thing up and no one was buying tickets. And I sat there and thought, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? No one's bought tickets. I've done all of this. I've planted thousands of pumpkins down there. I've done so much marketing. I would finish harvest if it was an early night at 10 o'clock, and I'd be painting my signs. I went diving in a skip to find wood to make my marketing signs because I'd just come out of university and I didn't have the resources to buy these big banners, and I was diving in skips, painting, and I made all my marketing with bale string and everything, and I'd basically been very resourcul.
A little bit of upcycling never hurt anybody.
Yeah, and I thought, oh no one's coming. And then about 2 weeks before the first weekend, my email didn't stop. The tickets just kept coming in every half an hour. This, and I can't believe it that it actually was amazing, and I didn't expect it to have that much go after it. So it was very good.
So do you know roughly how many people you had through?
It's really hard to judge that one because I know on the tickets, but then I had quite a few walk-ins, and I helped a lot of groups, such as disabled groups, special needs, brownies, rainbows, and a lot of people that like mental health charities came in. And obviously I had to cater to all their different needs, but I wanted to make sure that they all had the opportunity. And I managed to help, I think, over 15 charities in the end.
Wow.
And also, whilst also raising money for Thames Valley Air Ambulance, which Hunt Forest actually helped me with, by supplying me a little toy tractor to raffle off.
Very good.
Which
so that's your Ellie's Wellies initiative, is it?
Yes, so Ellie's Welly, I started up a few years ago when I started my YouTube channel, where businesses or anyone could get a special mention, even if it's your birthday, on my welly, and it goes on my YouTube channel for just a donation onto my Just Giving page.
So it's kind of like a sort of a sponsorship.
Yeah,
kind of
and I've even had a marriage proposal.
Oh, really? did he or she say yes?
Yes, apparently they've just sat down in their living room, and I said it on, and they were watching their normal telly on YouTube, and she was very excited. I even got invited to the wedding. I didn't go, but I'm not sure where it was, but I did get an invite. But I've just raised just over 3,500 for the Thames Valley Air Ambulance.
Great work, well done.
Thank you.
So what's the plans for the pumpkin patch in 2025? Is it expanding further, or is that top secret information?
Well, at the moment, I have been planning on different props that I'm going to make / find. I've been out sourcing different things from everywhere, like toy tractors for children to play on, from dinosaurs to balls to games. So I think people have enjoyed watching me grow year on year, and they keep coming back because of that. And I don't want to let them down now. So I want to go bigger and better next time. And I've got a few plans up my sleeve.
Watch this space. So you've mentioned it a couple of times now, and it's probably how I best know you as an internet farming sensation. But how did your YouTube channel come about?
So my YouTube, it's a funny one. I actually was going up north to see my grandparents, and we stopped in and visited Ollie Harrison. Yep. Ollie Blogs, known on YouTube. And he asked me if I wanted to drive his black Fendt. Now, I've never met Ollie, never met his family. He's only seen what I can potentially do via social media. And they were off tractor pulling at the Great Exton tractor pull. And he said, just get in that tractor, drive the Fendt all the way up to Liverpool. It was like a 3-hour journey. I got totally lost. I didn't know where I was going. And I watched him do his YouTube and how he edited it. And he actually filmed with me in the cab whilst I was tractor pulling. And I did a video whilst I was there. It was my first one I ever did. And I thought, well, do you know what? Why not give it a go? Let's just put it on YouTube and see what happens. And at first, if anyone wanted to start a YouTube channel up, it's YouTube holds you back for a year. Give it a year, they let you make your mistakes, they hold you back. You have to get 1,000 subscribers, which I thought was the target, but then I got to it and they actually want 4,000 watch hours. Yeah. Now that's the target. Look at that rather than the subscribers. They really hold you back. They do not let you go. You get 100 viewers. Then after you've done a year, they've got their monies out of you, YouTube let you go. So I've now been doing it for a few years, but it all started just from meeting Ollie, seeing what he does, and persevering for a year until they start letting you have it. But it takes a lot of dedication and time.
Yeah, I obviously from a media background myself, I appreciate the effort that goes into producing videos, certainly on a regular basis. How have you found the social media world? It's fair to say you've got a few followers now. I had a quick count up this morning. I reckon you're nearly at 20,000 on most platforms. I guess a lot of your followers are from a variety of backgrounds. Does this bring up a whole host of opinions and arguments that sort of differ from your views?
It can do. On general, I have had very positive views and people supporting me, which I'm very grateful for. I do try and aim it more at the general public because I love to show them how farming works, how we produce food, that it's not just from our supermarket shelves, it is us farmers out 16, 20-hour days in the harvest, bringing this food in. But I always feel that if people are negative, just either don't respond or just try and respond in a positive way and not get into the argument with them.
So it's more about education and awareness more so than sort of forcing your views on people, I guess. Yeah,
I like to think of it of bringing people along the journey with me so they can follow me. And I'd say
that's the right way to do it as well. It seems great the farming community's got behind you and welcomed your approach and enthusiasm with open arms. I guess it must have been pretty humbling to have been nominated for some industry awards and to win several, even more so.
Yes, I really couldn't believe it when the first one was the BBC Food and Farming Countryside Young Champion. Bit of a mouthful.
That's a lot of engraving on a trophy.
It was actually a chopping board that we won. But it was held in Cardiff at the Natural History Museum. I met Adam Henson there and he also presented the award. I really didn't expect to win at all. It was amazing. It was an amazing night, and I got so excited that when he announced my name as the winner, I accidentally threw my phone everywhere and just walked up.
It was also a good excuse to get out of the wellies, I'd imagine.
But everyone was surprised how nicely we all dressed up. But that one really helped my career kickstart, and I think it helped people back me more because I had a little bit more credibility of what I've been doing, and they really like seeing me being up there. Yeah,
I guess, don't want to say cynical about the industry, but I'm sure you probably had a few comments on videos about being a female in agriculture and, hide from the fact it is a very male-dominated industry, and everyone has an opinion, and sometimes people want to share it, whether it's a good thing or not. So, to be recognised like that, I'm sure is almost two fingers up to those people as such.
It definitely helped within the industry because we all do know it's male-dominated, and it can be difficult sometimes because I can't even reach the pedals in the tractor.
Don't admit to that.
And then I went on and was nominated for the National Women in Agriculture Award, which was held at the House of Commons. And I was nominated for 2 categories.
They won't let you back in there after this week.
No. For the Rising Star of the Year and the Influencer. And I won the Rising Star of the Year, and it was like so golden in there. We had dinner in the House of Commons. I met some amazing people like Abby Reader, so the NFU for Wales, and Manette Batters as well.
Yep.
And Olivia Shea from EcoU. But it was really extraordinary to meet some great women in that field, in the field of agriculture.
Yeah, sort of role models, I guess, if you were sort of looking at it that way. So I guess, winning an award for the BBC sort of give you, like, as you mentioned, a bit of recognition that you sort of helped your career a little bit. Am I right in saying you've done a fair few interviews and some regular features for BBC Radio Berkshire?
Yes, they are a big supporter of myself. Whatever time of the year it is, they have me on their list to talk about different issues or what's going on in the farming industry. And they also have my stepfather, Dan, on sometimes to talk about more of the political side of things, protests and things.
There's a hot topic at the moment then.
But yeah, they are very supportive, and they're always very interested in what farmers are doing, which I think is quite nice as well.
Yeah, so from a rural area and rural station, I guess that's nice to sort of feel supported that you've got a voice outside of your own channels.
No, definitely.
And did I see on your social media recently you did a talk at the Canadian Embassy?
Yes, I was very lucky to be invited by Andy Richardson from EFFP to talk about the sustainability within the supply chain. I was very nervous before I went in. I was the only female speaker.
Oh, wow.
And I think there was maybe 1 or 2 other females in the room. And supply chain wasn't maybe my strongest point, and I didn't know a big deal about it. And I wanted just a perspective from a young person's point of view and how I think we could change the supply chain. And I brought an idea up of using An earth rover. So an earth rover is a robotic weeder which zaps weeds by light. It can run 24/7. It means we'd be less reliant on pesticides, chemicals, herbicides, and it could run all the time. And it's better for the environment because of leaching. So that was my argument about robotics, and that we needed a agricultural revolution, because if you look at statistics, farming is one of the most undeveloped industries in the world. And that was my angle to talk about in the Canadian Embassy. And I met some really, really incredible people, and Colin Barker, the head of international affairs, was there, and they actually helped me since I've been to the talk.
Awesome. So. And as you said, any female in the room, that must have been pretty scary. Sort of, talking to a room of people and sort of peers and people in the industry, whereas normally you're just talking to your camera and your phone.
Yeah, I always find it harder for myself if I'm talking to the general public about farming. I always find that less nervous. As I'm talking to farmers, they've got a lot more experience than me. You never know what questions they're going to come out with, because I do quite a lot of talks for the WIs, the Nettlebed Farming Conference, and I've also got one up in Crewe after Christmas, which I've just been preparing for now, about social media, which I was invited by David Ferber from Claydon Drills to talk about it. But I give all the money that they give me to Thames Valley Air Ambulance, so I don't make a profit out of any of it.
That's very good to hear. You guys here at Rookery Farm have been huge supporters of John Deere and Hunt Forest Group for a number of years now. What is it about the John Deere and Hunt Forest brands that fits your operation? So we've always had John Deere, right from the first John Deere, which was the 4455, right now until we've got the new 8370s and S785 combines. But we really go for the really big thing is the dealer backup, especially from Hunt Forest. They are amazing. Whatever you need, the parts there the next day or within a few hours. They're a very forward-thinking company. John Deere's are very reliable. And also, I think a big thing is the research and development that goes into John Deere. You can tell that they put a lot of effort into it. I've been lucky enough to go out with my stepfather, Dan, to a John Deere workshop where they're researching and looking into the future. And some of the things I've seen out there, I can't say anything about it, but they are incredible, what is coming, what they are researching, what they're looking at. It's very intense though, because they ask a lot of questions. But obviously we think John Deere's are very user-friendly, they hold their value. You've got a fair-sized fleet of John Deere machines on the farm now.
We do. This harvest I was driving an S78 combine.
And you've got two of those now?
Yeah, and Dan was also driving an S78 combine as well. We've got two 8370Rs, John Deere's, which go on the front of the balers in the summer, and also the drills after. And at the moment in the yard, we've got a 215 and a 185 that we have got.
Covering all bases then?
Yes. We only run John Deere and JCBs.
Oh, we don't mention JCB.
Only JCB forklifts. But we did actually have a Kramer.
Oh, that's what we like to hear.
I liked it. I really liked it. It was nice, small, nimble, and very fast on the road. But yeah, so we really like John Deere, and Dan speaks very highly of Hunt Forest.
Yeah, we all always appreciate your custom and of course the good word you say about us and the product, really.
I really think the service is so good that actually I've got a little story. One night it was midnight and my tractor had broken down, and I was in the field on my own, and the Hunt Forest technician came out and fixed my tractor, managed to get it home, and he didn't just leave me in the field to get home. He was very kind, and he followed the tractor to make sure it got to the end of the drive before heading off home, and that was in the middle of the night. So they look after their customers. And
well, that's what we like to hear that.
Yeah,
it's good to know that.
We were all very appreciative, because obviously a female working on her own at night can be quite difficult, scary sometimes.
No, that's great feedback to hear, and I'll certainly pass it back to the team.
Oh, perfect. Thank you.
Some of our listeners may or may not be aware, you recently joined some other farming influencers out in Germany at the end of August for a special trip with John Deere to see some of the new products they've launched in 2024. That must have been a real honour.
Oh, it was. I always say to people, it was almost like winning the golden ticket, just even being invited to this event. I was so excited when Katie and Chris met me at Cereals 2024 and invited me to come. The first night we were taken to Untern-Bessenbach in the middle of nowhere on a farm where there was a big, beautiful marquee waiting for us that had been prepared and displayed so lovely, with a big display of all the machinery that we were going to be driving the next day. And they put on a little show.
You probably got to see more than we've seen as a dealer.
So what did we see then? We saw, one of my favourite things was the new combine, so the new digital combine, and I think it's definitely got that name for a reason.
Yeah, so it's the S7, was it?
S7, yeah. I think we drove the S7 900. So it has ground speed automation now, which allows for a more consistent feed rate, and they also has predictive ground speed automation.
So that's the combination of the forward-facing cameras and the satellite imagery.
Yeah, so in combination with the cameras and satellite, it predicts how fast and your header height. And when I was sat in the combine, the German technician said to me, just click that button and don't touch anything. And I clicked it and I automatically went to adjust my reel and things like that, and it just deactivates it. And it was a really strange feeling that the combine was doing everything for you, that I didn't have to do anything. I was just a bum in a seat. It's also now a single rotor design, so it's designed like the X9, and it had Gen 5 screens, so the new Gen 5 screens, and they call all this new thing over there, or maybe here as well, Deere NA.
Yeah, I've heard that.
I thought that was quite funny. I heard
that a fair bit. Being in marketing, we hear Deere NA a lot.
Yeah, but also being sat in the X9 cab was really cool. We got a massage on the go.
Yeah, and obviously X9 cabs now on the new S and the new T models, which I think everyone has been crying out for, and certainly now they've been in it, they don't want to go back to the old style.
Yeah, Dan's just got this S785. He was like 2 months too late to have this X9 cab, so he's got some new features on this combine. It's almost like an in-between model. Yeah, it's got some new features, but hasn't got the X9 cab on. But we also saw the T5 and T6 combines. Again, has got the X9 cab on. They've got 8 new models. They've got an adjustable spout, so prevents spillages. And something that I really, really wanted to see before I went out there was machine sync. Now, it is available, and it has been for a while, but it was actually in action when we were there. With the click of a button, the combine driver can control the trailer. And we've always talked about it here on the farm for new operators, maybe efficiency, but I'd never actually seen it in action. And I think it's something that now I've seen it in action, we'd definitely consider using it.
I actually, we've done some filming at a farm down in Wiltshire earlier in the summer that were running machine sync on their X9 1100. And I just, once you've seen it in action, you wouldn't go back to doing it the manual way. It's unbelievably efficient way of harvesting, and effectively you're not spilling anything. You're running the risk that you're going to spill anything. There is a video in the works for that, so check our YouTube channel out soon, and you might be able to see machine sync in action. Yeah,
I think I've got it on mine as well, doing it as well. But so we saw the combines. We also saw the new 6M tractor, which was really interesting because it's now 50k.
Yeah.
And I think the price is what people were really looking at. I was very surprised because here on the farm we run all 6Rs. But actually getting in that 6M, there wasn't a lot of difference. It was very up to date. And for the price difference, I think a lot of people should now look at or consider this 6M.
Yeah, it's certainly sort of not a budget option, but a lower priced option with, almost the same amount of features as the 6R.
But you can spec it up to as high as you want.
And obviously they all come with the Deere NA as such, with the Gen 5 screen and
they do.
All the precision ag technology that John Deere offer.
So the tractor was very interesting, and there's a video. I've done a video on all of these, so the S7, the Ts, the
Did you get to drive a variety of the sizes? Because I think there's 17 models in the range.
Yeah, so typical me, I jumped in the biggest one. And I managed to drive, I think, 3 different sizes, and then had to move on to a different station because it was quite an intense day. But after the tractors, I then went on to look at the sprayers. So we looked at the See and Spray, quite a new concept for John Deere. We have our sprayer in the yard, a John Deere self-propelled, which does have the ability, but we don't use it. But it was very, very cool seeing it in action, because obviously it's going to be better in the future because of runoff. You use less chemicals, you only target the specific weed, money for chemicals, and also accuracy. And what was cool, I managed to get a slow-mo video of it, like pulsating, just on the weed. And I thought that was a really good video that I managed to get. But the See and Spray sprayers were incredible, the technology involved with that, with the green and brown contrast. But,
So it sounds like you got to play with all the new kit that's coming out.
Yeah, I did. And they also had a 4955 tractor kitted out with precision agriculture equipment, really to demonstrate that it can be retrofitted to any tractor.
Yeah, so that would be the essentials kit, receiver, Starfire, receiver, Gen 5 display, and the M modem, which I believe if you talk to Precision Ag specialist at Hunt Forest Group now, we've got on special offer at the moment.
There you go. There we go.
Getting a little plug in for the Precision Ag team. So how did that trip work then? On sort of more a morbid curiosity, really. Did you have to have a sort of agreement on how many videos you produce for your channel, or is it sort of you kind of left to your own devices to create your own content when you were there?
So they were very, very kind, and all the team that I met with, Chris Wiltshire from the UK marketing team for John Deere, they said, it's up to me. I can do what I want. I can produce as many. I can focus solely just on one thing or do all of them. And I did manage to get around every station. It was very, very rushed all day. Thank you to Chris and Ben that was helping me out, because I kept leaving things everywhere because I was so flustered. I had left my headphones there.
You said it was an intense environment, I guess, sort of thinking, I need to get around and photograph or video that part of it, and then, like you say, moving on to the next station. Yeah,
but they had gators available for us, so they moved us from anywhere, station to station to station. The combines couldn't run until the afternoon because of weather and moisture. So once the combines were running, everyone went to the combines. A lot of content creators had their drones out there as well, and they could just fly them wherever they wanted. It was really fun. We all really enjoyed it, and it was great to meet some of the other content creators, like the Italian farmer. He was especially good because he spoke well English, pretty good. So I could talk to them, as in the German other influencers. It was hard to have like a long conversation because of the language barrier. But just meeting all the German marketing team, they were so friendly. They couldn't do more to help you. And we just left to do what we wanted all day and make as much or as little content. But I tried to make a YouTube video for every single thing that I saw, and a little bit of content for social media as well.
Good. And have you had much success with those videos on your channel? You know, obviously people like seeing new kit that's coming out. I imagine that's piqued the interest of quite a few YouTubers. Yeah,
I've had a lot of great feedback from them. A lot of people have said that they've really enjoyed watching what's coming, because none of it's been kind of into the UK quite yet. A lot of people like the 6M tractors. That took a lot of interest, especially on my TikTok platform, which I don't really do too much. But I put a title of 6M new John Deere tractor, and people love that, really love that. And there was also press out there the day before us, so they had it all set up for the press, and I think the 6M tractor was definitely caught people's eyes as well. Yeah,
I know when we were at an event at John Deere UK and 17 new models were announced, it certainly took us by surprise as a dealership, but certainly something to look forward to for next year.
Yes, definitely. I'd say look at the 6Ms and some of the technology that's come out is really mind-blowing.
So you recently completed your degree at Harper Adams. Congratulations again. So what's next for the Berkshire Farm girl?
So I've got a few talks coming up which I'm preparing for. I then have plans to go to Austria in the new year, which is something a little bit different, something I've never done before, and I'm actually got a job for a month milking sheep and making cheese and yogurt. So a different kind of farming that I'm used to.
Different skill set, and next year's pumpkin patch will have cheese for sale as well, will it?
Maybe, potentially. And also, I said at the beginning, I went to Stansted Airport to look at harvest crews. This is something that I am looking at, but obviously you can't, if you're going to America, it doesn't really start till March, April time. So I'm going to be traveling a little bit before, and then hopefully going out either to Australia or America.
Wow, exciting times then.
I'm working around my pumpkin patch. And I also hear that John Deere are working a lot with custom harvest crews in America, doing a lot of research and trials and development. And this would be something I'd be quite interested in to see if I'm out there, what they're doing and bits and bobs. And I'd also love to go out and even help harvest crews, update their videos with them, film for them, and promote it. So, yeah.
That sounds great. Well, I look forward to seeing your content for next year. It sounds like it's going to be an exciting one.
Oh, well, thank you for having me today. I really appreciate it. It's been great to meet you as well.
Oh, thank you very much. Thanks again to Eleanor for her time and for joining me on this episode. It's great to hear about her plans for the future and refreshing to listen to her talk with such drive and passion for the industry she has grown to love. If you want to find out more about the Berkshire Farm girl or keep up to date with everything going on in her world, I've included the links to her social media and YouTube channels in the description of this episode. Thank you all for joining me this year as we've delved into the world of podcasting. I will be back in 2025 with more episodes, more guests, and more topics that explore the world of John Deere, agriculture, professional turf, precision technology, and more. As always, if there's anything you want me to discuss on the podcast, guests you would like me to chat with, or features you want me to explore, then please get in touch via our social media channels or via email to marketing@huntforest.com. Alternatively, if you've really enjoyed listening, then leave us a review on Spotify, Amazon Music, or Apple Podcasts. Until next time, thanks for listening and have a very Merry Christmas.